Hurricane Katrina, were you affected by that?
Yeah, the whole city was affected by that.
How did it affect you personally?
Shit, man, when Katrina hit, me and my fam, we went up to Baton Rouge. Not sure if you're familiar with Baton Rouge, but it's not far at all from New Orleans. We went up to Baton Rouge, and after like a few days, we just seen some shit like, well, we left before Katrina, like 2 days or something, I think. And a few days later, we watching the news, because the place we was at in Baton Rouge, the power was out, so we couldn't just watch TV off the rip. We watching the news finally when the power come back on, and we just see the whole city's fucked up, they bust the levees or whatever. And it kind of was like, shit, I hope our house isn't flooded, but in reality, it's flooded. A lot of people died. You got, I don't think I know anybody personally that died, but, I may know someone that knows someone, so. But yeah, the house we lived in at the time, it was on the east side, that was flooded. I'm saying we lost all our stuff or whatever. Kind of had to get everything started back up in Baton Rouge. So we stayed out there for a while. And I had to start, schooling all over and all that. I think I was in like the 11th grade when it hit. So, yeah, it affected me major.
Now take me back, like a flashback if you could, and just explain for someone that's never been in a natural disaster before, like a hurricane or a tornado or something like that. Explain the process of, okay, you leave, you heed the warning, and then you come back to see the after effects. What do you see? Like, you go to your actual house and everything's gone or everything's messed up, and then at what point does the process of recovery happen? Like, do you gotta wait for an insurance check? Do you gotta, like, how does that work?
Well, I remember when we first went back, I think it was like probably 2 weeks after the storm hit, we was going back, and when we got I think it was about a mile from the house we used to live at. We lived right around Jazzland. They changed the name to Six Flags or whatever. We lived right around there, and by the time we got to Jazzland, shit was still flooded. You know what I'm saying? We're talking about 2 weeks later. So we had to go back. I think we might have came back out another week later, and we got to the house. There was walls. There was water had got up to like 8 feet or some shit. You know what I'm saying? So really, it just was like, shit, there's nothing you could do really. Go back again, and there was a FEMA at the time. They was giving out checks for like $2,000 or some shit. Wasn't really much. I think Red Cross was giving out some shit, but it wasn't nothing to like boost you off and you back on your feet or nothing. It never was that. But you literally start all over. You got to get jobs and all that shit. So it's something like you like you go to prison or something and you do time, and you get out, you just got to get your shit back going. That's kind of how it was.
So now, obviously, watching the news, there was a lot of people that were upset with FEMA and the response to FEMA and how FEMA, reacted to the situation. People felt like they were slow, they weren't fast enough. It was a whole political thing on TV. At least from my end, that's how I saw it.
Yeah.
What's your opinion of FEMA and how they handled it, looking back over everything? Was that an accurate account, or do you feel like they did a lot more that maybe the media didn't cover at the end?
I think they wasn't fully prepared for the situation, because it came out of nowhere. You know what I'm saying? That wasn't a normal thing that always happened. So I'm not sure how many people was living in New Orleans at the time, but somebody got to touch every last person. So it took a little time, but I think everybody got straight at the end.
Let me ask you this. When hurricane warnings come to New Orleans or Louisiana, is that something you always, by nature, just kind of take the warning and bounce? Or was this one special that made you? Because a lot of people didn't leave.
Yeah, a lot of people didn't.
What made you leave on this particular, this particular episode?
Really, my family. I was young. I probably was like 16 when it hit, so it was really their decision. If it was me, I would have probably stayed, which would have been the wrong decision. But, stuff happened before. We always kind of stayed out there, but for this particular one, we just left. It was kind of like a hunch or something.